The knocking was polite at first. Soft, measured, like someone afraid of being heard. I watched the door without moving. 2:14 a.m. The house was silent except for the refrigerator, humming and the blood beating in my ears. No one knocks at that hour unless something is dead, or about to be. The knock came again. Harder, desperate. I stood already knowing. There's a rhythm to consequences. You feel them before they arrive. A pressure in the air. A quiet that isn't quiet. The kind of silence that listens back. I opened the door halfway. He looked smaller than I remembered. Eyes red, face swollen, shirt wrinkled like he'd been sleeping in his car. My wife's soulmate. The man she said understood her in ways I never could. The man she packed a suitcase for. The man she chose. He folded in on himself the moment he saw me. Please, he whispered. His voice cracked. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just broken. Take her back. The words hung there, absurd and heavy. I studied his face the way you study damage after a storm, detached, clinical. She's destroyed my life, he said. My marriage, everything. I didn't speak. I let him drown in the quiet. Behind him, the streetlights flickered. The world kept spinning. Cars passed somewhere far away. Ordinary sounds, ordinary night. And on my doorstep stood the wreckage of a decision she swore was destiny. I felt something rise in me. Not anger, not grief. Recognition. The bill had arrived. 3 months earlier, she told me over coffee. No shouting. No plates breaking. She stirred sugar into her cup like she was discussing the weather. I met someone, she said. 20 years condensed into 4 words. I remember noticing the spoon. The way it tapped ceramic, steady, confident, like she'd rehearsed this. He's my soulmate. I nodded. Because what do you say to a sentence like that? It's not an accusation. It's a verdict. The trial already happened somewhere you weren't invited. She talked about connection, about being seen, about feeling alive again. Corporate poetry, office romance dressed as spiritual awakening. I watched her mouth move. I didn't interrupt. Every memory we shared lined up behind her, like ghosts waiting to testify. Birthdays, hospital rooms, vacations, fights. We survived, all of it reduced to a preface she was eager to skip. I didn't plan this, she added softly. They never do. I looked at her hands. No shaking, no guilt, just relief, like she'd set down a heavy bag and expected applause. I realized then the affair wasn't the betrayal. The betrayal was how long she'd been gone before she told me. How many dinners she sat across from me already belonging to someone else. How many nights she slept beside me as a visitor. I said one thing. When are you leaving? She blinked. Surprised by the efficiency? Soon. And that was that. 20 years ended with a scheduling conversation. I didn't beg. That disappointed her. I could see it. She wanted tears, rage, something cinematic to validate the drama of her choice. Instead, I helped her pack. Folded shirts, carried boxes, signed papers. A clean exit. But I kept watching. Not her. Him. Public records are generous to the patient. Divorce filings. Financial disclosures. Old lawsuits. The internet remembers everything people pray stays buried. Her soulmate had a wife, 2 kids. A mortgage hanging by a thread. I built a quiet timeline. Hotel receipts hidden in expense reports. Messages recovered from cloud backups she forgot to wipe. Promises he made her that contradicted promises he made at home. He wasn't leaving his family. He was leasing my wife. Temporary, convenient, disposable. I never warned her. Truth has a lifespan. Interfere too early and you kill it before it matures. I let it grow. I let her believe in it. I let him weave the rope he'd eventually hang from. They moved fast. New apartment. New furniture. Social media smiles curated like propaganda. She looked radiant in photos. He looked terrified. Only someone studying closely would see it. I studied closely. Every lie creates administrative work. 2 calendars. 2 narratives. 2 versions of the same man colliding. He was drowning in logistics. I waited. Time is the most obedient weapon. The knock at 2:14 a.m. was the final entry in the timeline. She told my wife everything, he sobbed. All of it. The messages. The money. The plans. I leaned against the doorframe. And, I asked. She filed for divorce. Took the kids. Froze the accounts. My job found out, HR. They're investigating. I could lose everything. He looked at me like I was a judge who might grant mercy. "She's not who I thought she was," he whispered. I almost laughed. Instead, I reached behind the door and handed him an envelope. Thick, neatly sealed. He stared at it. "What is this?" "Documentation," I said. Inside were copies, messages, dates, transactions, a map of his deception, so detailed it looked like an audit. Because it was. His hands shook as he flipped through. You sent this?" "Weeks ago. To his wife. To his employer. To a lawyer whose name I never learned." I nodded once. Understanding hit him like a physical blow. His knees softened. He grabbed the railing to stay upright. "You ruined me," he breathed. "No," I said calmly. "You did. She wants to come back," he said quickly. "She's begging me to fix this. To talk to you. She says it was a mistake." Of course she did. Mistakes always look different after the receipt prints. I pictured her rehearsing apologies in a mirror, practicing tears, rewriting history into something survivable. I felt nothing. "She's outside," he added. I glanced past him. Her silhouette sat in a car across the street, head down, waiting for a verdict like everyone else. For a moment, the old reflex twitched, the instinct to protect, to absorb impact. 20 years of habit doesn't die quietly. I let the feeling pass. Then I stepped fully into the doorway, so he had to look up at me. "You thought I'd take her back," I said. He nodded, fragile hope flickering. I shook my head. "I already buried my wife 3 months ago." The words landed clean. No shouting. No theatrics, just fact. Behind him, the car door opened. She stepped out, hesitant, watching our silhouettes. I met her eyes across the street. No anger, no love, just recognition of a stranger wearing her face. I closed the door before she could speak. The house felt larger afterward. Not emptier, clearer. I stood in the hallway and listened to their muffled voices outside. Panic. Pleading. The sound of people trying to rewind a tape. Already burned through. I poured a glass of water and sat at the kitchen table where she confessed. Same chair. Same light. A perfect circle. I expected triumph. What came instead was silence. Clean, surgical silence. I realized revenge isn't loud. It doesn't roar. It corrects. It restores balance like a bone snapping. Back into place. Painful. Necessary. Final. They would carry this night forever. Every relationship after would echo with it. Suspicion baked into their DNA. I felt free. Not because they suffered. Because I no longer needed them to. Outside, a car engine started. Then another. Tires faded into distance, their story leaving my street like smoke. I finished the water. Set the glass down. And for the first time in 20 years, the quiet in my house belonged entirely to me. I kept it.